right, so here we're going to take some notes. You can take some notes with me. All you have to have is a piece of notebook paper and draw you 2 big circles just like this right here. You can see we've got a place for potential energy, we've got a place for kinetic energy, and we've got a spot in the middle for both types of energy. So let's talk about potential energy first. So throughout the first PowerPoint video that I made in this assignment and your vocabulary from yesterday, you should know that potential energy is stored energy. So that's what we're going to write right here. So stored energy. Okay. Potential energy also increases based on the height and mass of whatever it is that we're talking about. So if we're talking about a roller coaster, the higher up the hill, the higher the potential energy the car's going to have. So if you've got a hill, say this is your ground level, you've got a hill that's about right here, you'll have some potential energy, but it's not going to be a ton. If you've got a hill that's way up here, you're going to have a lot of potential energy. So that depends on the height, okay? So we'll go ahead and write that down. Increases based on height and mass. The more mass something has, the more potential energy it's going to have. Just like you could have a feather and raise it to here, it's going to have some potential energy. But if you had a car and you raised it this high, it's going to have a ton more potential energy just because it has so much more mass. Does that make sense? All right. A good example of this would be on top of a roller coaster, on top of the highest hill of a roller coaster. So if you wanted to, you could draw a little roller coaster on your paper right here. So I'm going to put my initial hill way up high, and then we're going to kind of fall down and have a loop. Well, right here at the top is going to have the most potential energy. So I'm going to put a PE right there. Okay, you can do the same thing. So let's come over here and talk about kinetic energy for a minute. So kinetic energy, back to your vocab words, the video that we watched earlier, is the energy of motion. So kinetic energy, the energy of motion. Okay, so kinetic energy, the energy of motion, it's going to increase as the speed increases or as the motion increases. Does that make sense? Also, has mass affects potential energy, the same thing. The more mass something has, the more kinetic energy it's going to have. So if you have a car that's going 15 miles an hour and you've got a bird that's flying 15 miles an hour, the car is going to have more kinetic energy just because it has so much more mass. Okay, so right here we're going to write increases as speed and mass increases. Okay, a good example of this would be either a moving car, or we can say at the bottom of a hill on a roller coaster. So that's the spot on a roller coaster where the car is going to be moving the fastest, is at the bottom of a hill. So we could put the bottom of a hill on a roller coaster. Okay, or you could put a car going down the highway. You can write really whatever you want to right there as long as something is in motion. So let's draw another roller coaster right here. So I'm going to start my hill way up here, and I'm going to make a loop. There we go. Okay, we got us a little roller coaster. So if the most potential energy is up here at the top of the hill, where you've got all that potential to go down, the kinetic energy is going to be at the bottom of the hill, because that is where the car is going to be moving the fastest. So I'm going to put a KE right there. So anytime we're taking notes or you see any kind of handouts or anything, potential energy, to shorten that up, we're going to put PE. Kinetic energy, to shorten that up, we're going to put KE. Okay? So there's our potential energy and our kinetic energy. So in the middle, both things, let's put types of energy because both potential and kinetic are types of energy. Okay, and they can move from one to the other. So potential energy at the top of your hill right here, as you move down, it's going to transfer into kinetic energy. Just like kinetic energy down here at the bottom of the hill, as it goes up to the top of the loop, is going to transfer into potential energy. So they can transfer into different or other okay. So in the middle, we've got they're both types of energy and they can both transfer into other types of energy. Okay, so this is your note page for right now. If you take these notes, you send me an email with a picture of them. I'm going to give you some extra credit on this assignment. Okay, we're going to have a little bit more notes to talk about. We're going to talk about some more roller coasters in the next videos. Y'all are amazing. Keep going. Potential and kinetic energy is one of my favorite things. So I'm glad that we're doing it right now. And y'all are awesome.